We've all been wondering at what time Bob Iger might finally leave in the Disney CEO succession process. Well, a new option might have been opened up to him, as a congressman has revealed that he and Bob Iger have had a discussion about him replacing LA Mayor Karen Bass before the Los Angeles 2028 Olympics. Let's talk about Bob Iger's possible next new gig here on That Park Place. Hello, I am Jonas J. Campbell, an investigative reporter for That Park Place, and here with me is Mr. VashSky. Vash, you've been to LA before. Me too, but in all reverence to the people who are struggling out there in LA Please. Right now, as the wildfires are going on. But some of the focus on that has been on the mismanagement by Karen Bass and the revelation that she spent a lot of time in Cuba while Fidel Castro was trying to, let's say, lend his hand to the American political and social discourse. Not a big fan myself, I'm going to say. No fidelity to him. And much love to my Cuban brethren who are out there in Tampa doing great things with Cuban sandwiches and cigars and the culture that they have brought to the United States. Much love there. But let's talk about Bob here. All right. So this story, out of That Park Place by Marvin Montanero, Disney's Bob Iger eyed for LA mayor amid Karen Bass California wildfire controversy. Again, what a pose there. Could Bob Iger become the next mayor of Los Angeles? One elected official certainly seems to think Disney's big boss could be the next LA mayor. California Congressman Khanna, a former supporter of Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass, is calling for a major change in the city's leadership in the wake of devastating wildfires that exposed LA's lack of preparedness. Khanna has suggested that Disney CEO Bob Iger could step into the political arena and challenge Bass for the mayoral seat. Let's just play the video. Vash, I think you've got that.
I believe I do. This post here comes from Alex Michelson, I believe. Let's go ahead and take a listen to what Khanna has to say. Here we go.
Running for LA mayor is Bob Iger. He's someone I know very well. He's the leader of Disney. He's a remarkable person. He had thought about running for president. That's why I thought of it. And we need a new leadership in the state of California and in these cities. Bob Iger would be phenomenal. It's going to be a huge rebuild in Los Angeles, and I'm hopeful that he will do it. I don't know if he will, but I'm hopeful he will.
Karen Bass is the mayor. She is running for re-election as the mayor.
Is she? So, I supported her the first time. Yeah. Look,
So would you rather see Bob Iger? Is that what you're saying?
I would rather.
Okay. So that is amazing. First of all, he doesn't ask. He asks, "Isn't Karen Bass running?" And he says, "Oh, is she?" He pretends like he doesn't know whether or not the mayor of LA is running for re-election, which is that is like some underhanded politician move right there. Not admitting whether or not he wants her replaced, but definitely saying he wants her replaced in that role. Smiling the entire time. He also says, we need new leadership on the state level. I can't tell what book that is back there. Oh, that's the Bill Clinton biography back there, isn't it? I thought that was Gavin Newsom there for just a second.
It is. It's a good eye. I'm kind of shocked over this guy's reaction right here. Phenomenal, he says. Phenomenal. He would be phenomenal, Jonas, as the LA mayor. And to be honest, if we're, relatively speaking, he might be. So it's very interesting. I like what I like to hear what Khanna has to say about this next part right here. Apparently he's had conversations with Bob Iger. Take a look.
I supported her the first time. Look,
So would you rather see Bob Iger? Is that what you're saying?
I would rather see Bob Iger right now. It's a moment of crisis. Yeah. I think Iger has the business leadership, the ability to do something new, to help redevelop. We got to get that city, as you know, ready for the Olympics in 2028. Now, I don't know if he'll do it. I mean,
have you talked to him about that?
I have. I've said he should. I said he should. And he wanted to run for president for a number of reasons. I think he didn't. But I want new leadership across the state in California, but we certainly need dynamic leadership in Los Angeles.
So you would support Iger over Rick Caruso?
I would support Iger over, unless you're running. I don't know. I
Look at
support
that
Iger
right
over
there.
almost anyone.
Look at him avoiding that question. I mean, this is a congressman. This is a politician. He's doing a very good job of deflecting from actually saying anything, but definitely putting the idea out there. So I'm going to say that Bob Iger probably is doing the two-hand, one saying, well, stop, and the other saying, yes. Oh, no, stop. um, Bob Iger wants to get his next big win because that's what he's after. And he has run the Walt Disney Company like he's a politician. And for some time, there has been no real growth there at the Walt Disney Company. There's only been acquisition, growth by acquisition. And then that growth seems to disappear after a little while. If you go look at the stock price for the Disney Company right before they bought Fox, plus the stock price of Fox, they're not as far apart as they should be. From Disney without Fox to Disney plus Fox many years later and many billions more. What I'm trying to say is that value has pretty much disappeared for shareholders despite paying $70 billion for that. And yet Bob Iger is viewed by many as the as WDW Pro likes to say, the mousy messiah here. So I actually think that Bob Iger probably is well suited to the political aspects of being the mayor of Los Angeles here. And he is well liked in Los Angeles for the most part, unless he opens his mouth about the strikes. Vash, what do you think about Bob Iger and the possibility of being the LA mayor?
Man, this is a crazy story. When I heard about it, I was like, really? But look, I mean, if we're speaking relatively, I mean, Bob Iger would be an upgrade. There's no doubt about that, I think. The question is how well he would run something like LA, incorporative of LA County by proxy there. You're talking about a huge city with a very distinct and diverse population. You're talking, I mean, just the economic output of LA alone is absolutely massive. Could he run a city like that? I think so. Question is how well. When you're looking at the Walt Disney Company and, like you said, growth through acquisition, and you look at the valuation of those acquisitions and how it's really placed the company, I mean, like you put it, even after Fox, even after all these acquisitions, it's largely the same in a post-Avengers release date for the Walt Disney Company, even after Star Wars and even after Marvel has returned significant value to the company. It is crazy how mismanaged those assets have been. And, I mean, looks like the decline continues, at least with Lucasfilm, and hopefully Marvel gets its act together. Looks like Pixar is coming back a little bit, but we're still a long way away from actually showing growth in Walt Disney's portfolio of films and entertainment content. When I look at the city of LA, he's definitely got the politician vibe, that's for sure. But would he do it? He's much older now than when he was considering running for president. I don't think the Democrat apparatus that exists right now in California would accept him to be governor, but maybe, possibly, they would accept him to be mayor.
It's a fascinating, and maybe they would accept him as governor after he is accepted as mayor. This is the kind of thing there's all of a sudden there's a territory where Iger has yet to claim another jewel for his crown here after consolidating so much under the Walt Disney Company. I think he views all that as a positive, as opposed to us at that Park Place who view it as the inevitable downfall of most of those things. It's usually after Disney buys something, it takes about 10 years for it to stop working. And Pixar, I count that as working for longer because that was basically a talent hire in order to bring in Ed Catmull, John Lasseter into the Walt Disney Company and in bringing that organization in. And the only reason that Pixar functioned as well as it did for so long is being, I think, protected by those people. And now here is Pixar is a shell of its former self. And even when it succeeds, it is succeeding based off of nostalgia and just trying to keep the lights on kind of thing. Inside Out 2, I mean, it made a lot of money. I think it was the biggest movie of 2025, but it's really not anything that they should be proud of other than the monetary aspect and the fact that there may be some technological things in there. The storytelling is nowhere near where it needs to be. Sorry, that's a bit of a rant here. Vash?
No, I was going to say that we look at the three big successes that Disney had in 2024, those being the plus $1 billion hits like Moana, or sorry, I should say Moana 2, Inside Out 2, and Deadpool and Wolverine. All of those harken back to when the creative powerhouse or the creative engine of the Walt Disney Company was thriving. You know, these are all legacy brands and IPs. They haven't been able to launch anything independently on their own, maybe outside of Encanto in the last 5 years, you know, until they actually have $1 billion hits from original content. I don't know if this creative engine has been restored fully.
Yeah. And now there is one more thing that I want to point out in this Bob Iger story here. And, you know, California and Bob Iger deserve each other if they want to vote for him. That's, you know, this does not affect me. I have no plans to go out to California for the foreseeable future until they get their act together. We'll have to see how things change here in law and order in the next little while. But I think that, first of all, Karen Bass is up for re-election in 2026. I don't know what the recall process looks like in LA right now, but I think there are enough people who are very angry about what has gone on in California that maybe that's on the table. But I'm not a California law expert, and I'm definitely not an LA city ordinance expert. We'll have to see.
I will say that if a recall attempt is successful against Karen Bass, that would be the primetime opportunity for Bob Iger to throw his hat into the ring, I would think.
I totally
wouldn't
agree.
You have a runoff situation?
If it's like the state of California with the election of Arnold Schwarzenegger, yes, but I don't want to presume that local politics or local legislation or whatever the election things are in LA is the same as it is for the state of California. That would be a fascinating thing to watch. But until we get to that point, we would love to know, first of all, hit the like button if you haven't done that. What are your thoughts on Bob Iger as the mayor of LA? Mayor, that's right. He could clean up this town just like Goldie Wilson did for Hill Valley. That being said, thank you so much for being here. Again, hit that like button. And if you haven't done it, consider subscribing to That Park Place for all the news that should be fun.
Thanks for watching That Park Place News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.